Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go, this is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin tonight with some breaking news for you out of Grand Forks. The police department there is investigating the death of a 5-month-old child. The department says it was notified by Grand Forks County Social Services earlier this week of injuries to 5-month-old Brinley Reimer. Brinley was eventually flown to Sanford Medical Center in Fargo, where she passed away. Police say the nature of her injuries is being investigated at this time in order to determine whether they were accidental, intentional, or medical. If you have any information on what led up to Brinley's death, you can call Grand Forks Police at 787-8004. A popular app that's probably on your kids' cell phones is causing major concerns. And now at least one company is listening to parents. Some of you may have heard the buzz. Cosmopolitan magazine just introduced an X-rated channel on Snapchat that basically provides pornographic content to anyone's fingertips. But late today decided to pull the feature after outrage spread across the internet. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley has the very latest. Bailey.
Thanks, Andrea. Cosmo After Dark is a new channel that launched last week on Snapchat's Discover page that goes live every Friday at 6 p.m. Their page includes alarming levels of sexual content, and the scariest part is there's nothing parents can do to turn it off or block children from seeing it.
My own, they like to stay in the room most of the time. I believe they'll be doing their homework, but if something like porn pops up, I think they will push their homework aside and start watching it, and that is really scary.
There's enough things on the internet that you can stumble on that you don't want to look at or want your children to look at, let alone having not to be able to block this sort of content. It's very disturbing.
But now Cosmo seems to have listened, and just in the last half hour, they released a statement saying they would discontinue the program after taking heat online for serving up what some called pornography to kids. Experts say situations like this underscore why parents need to be aware of what is happening on social media networks and what their kids may be exposed to. This is especially true with apps such as Snapchat because you can't block content. Andrea?
All right, Bailey, thanks for that live report. We have new information tonight on a triple murder-suicide in Grand Forks. Valley News Live has uncovered how a mother got the gun she used to kill her 3 kids before taking her own life. Grand Forks police say 35-year-old Astra Voke was the shooter who killed her children before ending her life on May 3rd. Voke had made posts about struggling with mental illness, and her mother said she had struggled with bipolar disorder since she was a teenager. It was a mystery how she got a handgun until now. Police say she bought it herself the day before the shooting at a pawn store. The only question pertaining to mental health on a firearm background check is if you've ever been in a mental hospital or qualified as mentally defective. Police say Voke, as far as they can tell, was neither and was legally allowed to buy the gun. The case is still under investigation. With this hot and muggy weather, it's no wonder we're seeing thunderstorms fire up around the region. Let's go right over to Hutch for the latest forecast. Hutch?
Well, we started our day with passing showers and thunderstorms. A couple of them produced some sizable hail. Right now, it's the heat that's really building here in the Red River Valley. Temperatures in the low 90s from Grand Forks through Fargo and Aberdeen, 87 in Jamestown, and mid-80s into Lakes Country, even Bemidji in that area. Now, as we take a look, there are a few storms near Towner County in the north central part of North Dakota. A slight risk of a few strong storms will be possible tonight, but they will likely be forming off to the west of the Fargo and Grand Forks area as we go through the late night hours. Right now, things pretty dry across the region, and we're not expecting widespread thunderstorms, but any storms that form in this 90-degree air with the relatively humid air as well will have the chance at producing some large hail and some gusty winds tonight. By around the 8 to 11 o'clock hour looks to be our best chance, and my gut is telling me the strongest storms will be in the more moisture-rich air of western Minnesota as we go through the early overnight hours. We'll have details on this as we go through the night. It does look like a quiet start to your Friday morning, but the heat will return as well. Details in your hour-by-hour forecast in a moment.
Thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
Charges are pending against a 26-year-old Fargo woman after an accident on Interstate 94. It happened this morning just after 8. North Dakota Highway Patrol says Jericho Qualley rear-ended a car on I-94 at the 45th Street underpass, causing that car to slam into another vehicle in front of it. There was a fire, but firefighters put it out quickly. Qualley was taken to Sanford for possible injuries. Authorities did not say what charges she faces, as the crash is still under investigation. Jamestown police arrested a woman after they say she called to report a possible intruder while under the influence of drugs. Officers say a woman claimed someone was on her deck trying to get into her apartment. It turns out there was no intruder, and a background investigation revealed the woman, Stephanie Hess, was under the influence. She faces charges of possession of a controlled substance and possession of meth paraphernalia. She's being held at the Stutsman County Correctional Center. A coffee shop in Grand Forks is dealing with some damage after a fire this morning. Firefighters responded to Bully Brew Coffee off of Columbia Road, finding flames in the roaster and attached chimney. That's where most of the damage lies, but the store also has smoke damage. Investigators are still looking into that incident also. Authorities are investigating the cause of a fire that destroyed a cabin in northern Minnesota. It happened last night at Breezy Point Resort. A staff member at the resort said the 4-bedroom cabin is privately owned. Witnesses say the flames shot 60 feet in the air. No one was injured. The North Dakota agency that promotes business development and tourism has laid off 13 workers. The cuts took effect immediately today in the state Commerce Department. Commerce Commissioner Jay Schuler said the cuts included duplicate jobs, and the agency expects to save $750,000 annually. The employees were offered a severance package that includes up to 3 months of pay, depending on the employee's tenure. Essentia Health is investing more than $500 million at its hospital headquarters in Duluth. The organization plans on spending $675 million on replacing buildings at its Vision Northland. This is a drawing of what the new hospital just off of Lake Superior could look like. The project is expected to be completed by 2022. 240 miles, 3 days for Fargo men. The four will be marching from the Canadian border all the way to South Dakota to raise awareness for veterans' mental health. They took off at midnight today from Noyes, Minnesota, and will not be stopping until they reach South Dakota on Saturday. The men are marching to honor Brady Oberg and his Legacy Foundation. Brady took his own life after returning from Afghanistan. Now these four want others to know about the business, rather the seriousness of PTSD for returning soldiers.
It is the ultimate day. It's the fitting day. There's no better day for us to honor those that have made the ultimate sacrifice for us.
You can see the full story tonight at 6, including where and when you can catch the men hiking through your area. This holiday weekend is the unofficial kickoff to summer grilling, but it's important to do it safely. Firefighters are reminding everyone to check your propane tank and connections by applying soapy water to the nozzle and hoses. When you turn on the propane, if there are any bubbles, that is an indication there's a leak. It's important to keep your grill and hot coals away from your home because vinyl siding is filled with petroleum products. Firefighters say once siding is on fire, it burns fast with a high heat and produces toxic smoke.
A lot of times when people dispose of coals or lit cigarettes on their patio deck, that can start the fire, which then eventually gets up to the siding and then what happens is it can get up into the attic and start that wood on fire in the attic.
Another safety tip: if your light goes out on a propane grill, fire experts say it's important to leave it shut off for 5 minutes before relighting to prevent a propane explosion. People in Burnsville, Minnesota woke up to an unexpected visitor this morning. Check this out. A black bear was spotted enjoying a nice stroll. Police officers later confirmed the sighting and said the bear did not appear agitated or aggressive. However, they do remind everyone to be aware of their surroundings and don't leave pets or children unattended. Bear sightings can be tracked online at the Minnesota DNR website. If a bear is seen and appears to be aggressive, you should call 911. Soon you may not